Hello again and welcome back to Chef Melanie's Kitchen. So the recipe we're making today is a delicious vegetable Rogan Josh. Now what I've been teaching my students recently, I've been teaching them a unit on regeneration of pre-prepared foods, which sounds very fancy, doesn't it? But basically it talks about how you can use certain convenience products to make our lives easier, because not every chef makes absolutely everything from scratch. You know, when I wake up in the morning, I'm not grinding beans and making bread from scratch, even though I do make my own bread every so often. So today I'm going to be using, for instance, a shop bought paste, which you could say is cheating, but I think when you get home and it's late and you're really hungry, you might not have the time to make a sort of a curry paste from scratch, or you might not have all the individual ingredients. So sometimes a shop bought curry paste, if you choose the right ones, can be a real time saver and can also be delicious. This vegetable curry uses all sorts of delicious seasonal vegetables, including one I've grown, which is pretty cool. It's vegan as well. I put a bit of yoghurt on top as a garnish, but of course you can use soy yoghurt or coconut yoghurt instead as an alternative. And I'll just go through the ingredients. So these are all the ingredients you're going to need. Cauliflower and butternut squash, which I grew myself. You notice it's a bit on the sort of green side rather than sort of orangey side, but that's because it's quite a young butternut squash, which I harvest early. So that's why it's that size and why it's that colour. But so it won't be as sweet as butternut squash, and it will be slightly paler once I cut into it, but it'll still be delicious. Cauliflower is seasonal right now, and also with the this is kale as well. If you've never tried kale, it's a bit like spinach, but a stronger flavour and slightly tougher leaves. You can use any other type of green vegetable you want, but as kale is again seasonal now, that's why I'm using it. So you'll need a couple of tablespoons of oil. You will need, I would normally say 2 white onions, but these onions are really small, so I've got 3 onions there. You'll need 2 garlic cloves. You'll need a nice big chunk of fresh root ginger. You will need 2 large old potatoes, which are the sort of baking potatoes really, which I'm going to peel and dice. You'll need a tin of tomatoes. You'll need a vegetable stock cube, which I'm going to make up to 600 millilitres of vegetable stock. Here's sort of the star of the show, I suppose, is Rogan Josh spice paste. So this is from Pataks, company Pataks. Now, this video isn't sponsored by Pataks at all, but I find that their pastes are absolutely fantastic. I think out of all the shop-bought pastes you can get in terms of convenience products, I think Pataks are the best. And I said, this video isn't sponsored by Pataks at all, but my mum's been using Pataks curry pastes for her curries for years, and so I like to do the same. I've got a big handful of fresh coriander. Some's going to go into the curry, but I'll have some on top as well. 100 grams of natural yogurt, which is just going to be going on top. So if you want to keep it vegan, don't put yogurt or just use some vegan alternative yogurt. And about 80 grams of kale. And really simple, really, that's all the ingredients you'll need. I'll go through the large saucepan, or I'm using my wok because that's the largest thing I have. I want you to cook the onions, the garlic and the ginger for about 5 minutes. You will need a large pan because this vegetable curry feeds about 4, so with rice I would say it feeds about 4. Just in case you're wondering what that is, that's going to be the crumble which happens for pudding after the curry. Not exactly Indian themed, but I like a good crumble. So now I've added the potato, the butternut squash, 5 generous tablespoons of the curry paste, which is about 3/4 of the jar, and a handful of fresh coriander. And now I'm going to coat these in that lovely spice blend and fry that for about 6 minutes. So I've added the cauliflower now, which I've broken down and sort of cut down into small florets. I'm going to add my vegetable stock. That's going in there as well. I'm going to add my tin of tomatoes. Just plain old tin of chopped tomatoes. And I'm going to add another handful of fresh coriander. And remember, with coriander, you can use the stems as well as the leaves, because there's loads of flavour there. Now I'm going to bring this I'm going to give it a stir, but then I'm going to bring this lovely curry to the boil and then lower the heat a little bit, and then that can simmer for 25 minutes. You need to add your kale. So your kale goes in there, and then that needs to cook, well obviously stir it in, that then needs to cook for a final 10 minutes. So you'll know your curry's done when the sauce is really beautiful and thick, and I would check a piece of potato
like take one out, allow it to cool a bit so you don't burn your mouth, and just eat a piece of potato just to double check that your potatoes are cooked nicely, because there's nothing worse than, you know, crunchy potatoes. So if you find the potatoes are still a bit hard at that stage, just cook it for another 5-10 minutes till they're done. But I've just checked a piece of potato and I'm happy with the level of cooking. So before I serve, of course, all our chefs do, we need to season to taste, so I'm just going to check. Oh, that doesn't need anything added to it, that's absolutely perfect. So I'm just going to transfer it to a serving dish and garnish it and finish it. I've transferred my curry to my serving dish, and I'm literally just going to finish it off with a few little dribbles of natural yoghurt. So literally just a few little bits, because it's not a very hot curry. I think if you were going to have a much hotter curry, let's say a vindaloo or a madras, you might want to use more yoghurt, because a lot of people don't know, but if you use dairy, if you use yoghurt as a cooling agent, you can make a really hot curry, but you can finish it off with a bit of dairy to make it a bit milder. So I've got that, and then we've got a few sprinkles, a few finishing elements. So I'm just going to finish off with a bit more fresh coriander. That's lovely. And that is my seasonal vegetable Rogan Josh. Enjoy.